Oh, come on. I just heard you all back there. You were like on fire. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you. Jeez. Thank you. And thank you, Vernon. There are familiar catchphrases in the English language, but few as endearing and familiar to us as, how you doing? Wendy has done it all. She is a mother, media mogul, fashion designer, philanthropist, and entrepreneur. Most of us think we know her, but do we? You know she's an author, but did you know she's written 7 books, including several novels and a New York Times best-selling memoir? You know she's made her name as a radio shock jock, but did you know she's been inducted into the National Radio Hall of Fame? Of course, we all know her great TV show, but did you know that show has been nominated for several Emmys, for both being the most outstanding show and for her personally as most outstanding host, and that Wendy trades off daily with Ellen DeGeneres as the #1 female host on daytime TV. Wendy is a smart business executive with a big heart. Today, we are going to learn a lot more about that business side of her life and how she rebranded herself into a self-made mogul. So get ready, because we are about to get the tea from the queen of all media herself on her own amazing entrepreneurial journey. But before we bring out Miss Wendy, I want you to know that this is your chance to ask Wendy. So on your table, there are index cards. Please use those cards as we talk to write down any questions you have. Volunteers will be going around to collect them, and we will ask as many of them as we can as the morning goes on. Also, Wendy is generous, and so she's sharing a special gift or two for a few lucky attendees. If you take a moment now to look underneath your seat, those of you who come up with a "how you doing" sign will receive an autographed copy of Wendy's latest book. All right, we see you. We see you. There's a couple of you out there. So at the end of the session, oh, y'all are going around looking at other seats. I hear you. Y'all are entrepreneurial. You're like, you're not going to stop me at one chair. Okay. So at the end of the session, if you have that sign, bring it to the back near the engineering deck over there, and you will receive your autographed book. And now, without further ado, please show your love for none other than Miss Wendy Williams. Oh, you got tea and water.
Well, I came to spill the tea. Plus, you know, I have the I've got water as a backup. You know, I don't like to disturb you, even though I cough on my show and just because I'm only me. And of course, I've got my Jolly Ranchers, because if you follow me, then you know my 2 favorite candies, which I love all candy, but Jolly Ranchers, apple and watermelon preferably, and chocolate licorice.
So there you have it.
Yeah.
And I guess I get to drink out of the floral vase.
Well, flowers are good for you.
Okay, well, good to know.
Allegedly.
Good to know.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, no, thank you for coming. So, you know, it's no secret, obviously, you're going through a lot.
Yes.
And to come here in the midst of a transition in your life and in your business is no small thing to do. So I do want to say, you know, a lot of people will show up after they've come through the storm, and it's all calm, but you're here in the midst of it. So thank you for that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you for that.
I don't really see that as such a big deal, but it takes a lot to be a Wendy, and I guess that's what separates me from the rest. You show up, you give it your all. You know, we are of a particular age, the adults in the room, and you all are the next generation. Who's going to take care of us? However, I am getting on the plane right after this.
You are.
Because Kevin, my son, and Travis, my nephew, are flying up from Florida to spend 2 weeks with me. And oh no, not all. I'm rushing back because they will not be tearing my apartment up. Well, our apartment, new life. And so yeah, and told the building, do not let them in. Yeah, I said, look, you have friends in the city. Go visit one of your friends, and I should be in about 3 hours after you from Charlotte, and I will call you when I'm on my way from the airport, and then I will let you in. That's it.
So,
18 and 25 they are.
oh yeah, you need to protect the apartment.
Yeah, and
For
they're
sure.
cute too,
Yeah, there you go.
and up to stuff. Eek.
So this is a new apartment
Yes,
in New
new
York
life.
City, moved from New Jersey, and new life, as you say,
Yeah.
and in some ways, new business, right? So you have new people around you.
Yeah. Oh God, it's hot. Can't even. Let me
It's
take the top
tea.
off this. Yes, I have a new manager, Bernie Young. Google him if you'd like. He was handling Rosie for 17 years, at O'Donnell, and
Martha
Stewart.
Yeah.
And now the Wendy. And I have a new assistant, and her name is Leah. And don't mess with her because she will Google you and tell me what's on your social media, which, by the way, watch that because people like me and Leah very much care. And no matter how you present yourself at the interview, if your social media has you twerking with a thong on and all kinds of weird, no, I'm serious. You know how you kids do. Or you think you can get away with that. And there are a lot of adults here who are in the position of hiring. And that's the one thing that I think companies don't take advantage of, and that is you can know the content of a person's character just by looking on their social media, regardless of what their resume says and regardless of how they present themselves in the interview. And I'm the one. You're not getting this job. And I'll save your number, and I'll wait 6 months, and I will call you. Not somebody for me. I will call you. Hi, it's Wendy. Wendy, whatever. No, I'm just calling to find out whether you actually got a job. And wow, you did, great. Listen, change your social media quickly, because that's why you didn't get the job here at Wendy.
So let's talk
And they're grateful for that. They're grateful for that.
social media,
Yes.
particularly at times when you're going through a transition,
Yes.
can be tight, right? So I'm curious, how do you feel about social media, one, and do you read the comments on your social media accounts, and if so, how do they impact you?
Well, okay, I hate social media. I have a Samsung. My entire team is forcing me to get an iPhone because oh, excuse me? Excuse me. All my phone has to do is ring and I pick up. I don't care about this foolishness. I don't care about taking a picture of my food. I don't care about taking a picture like this. But you know what? Now with new life, I've become more involved, and it's really a pain.
But you need a strategy, right? Have you started to really talk about, I know the show has its own social media, but then you do, and you post.
No, I don't.
And so who's posting for you?
No. The Wendy does not have her own private social media. I don't care. Stay out of my business. And I don't care about the followers, and I don't care about...
So that's your team posting. Like last weekend, you were at the Ariana Grande concert, right? And
Right.
Right, because they posted. How do I know? Social media. So someone is posting for you. Is the strategy behind that posting?
Well, that picture was actually taken by my assistant, Leah, on her iPhone. And then when we left, she sent it to Tristan Zimmerman, who's in charge of my IT department at the show. I know the show looks fun, and who I am is who I am. I can't be anybody else. But behind the scenes, it's a real talk show, okay? Okay. And we actually, no, because sometimes people are like, why doesn't she, stop wiping her teeth? Or can she not cough? Or does she have to tilt her hair in the middle of conversation? Or why is she always, doing this when she talks to us? And the reason is because I can only be me.
Yeah.
It's too much effort to be somebody else. But we have an IT department, so she sent it to Tristan after we left. And Tristan Actually, you know what? I was so busy, I did not actually do the comment on the picture. That was Tristan who did it. Sometimes you can tell the difference between Tristan doing it, which is very sterile,
Right.
you know, because he's the IT guy, and me, which will be, you know, alas, here I am.
So you say you can only be you
Yeah.
on the talk show.
And in
And
real
you
life.
were only you on the radio.
Yeah.
And in real life.
In real life.
But
It's all
in-
the same person.
Right. But in social media, when you have a brand and a business to protect,
Yeah.
right, per everyone in this room,
Yes.
do you believe, Judge Wendy, that it is wise
Coming
to
soon
be
to a TV
you,
near you.
to be you on social media, or to have a real strategy where you're cultivating a brand that is best serving your business, right?
Okay.
So that you're being much more strategic. Do you
Gotcha.
think be you on social media, all you entrepreneurs in the room, or does that have to in 2019 be part of a brand strategy that you're very strategic and intentional about?
It's difficult for me to explain this to people because if I say be business on social media and then be you in real life, well then who are you? For me, I can only be Wendy. So I can only be me in every single walk of my life. If I cry, it's because I cry. Do not mistake my tears for a get-over, you know. And I would just say, keep your social media clean. Now, I don't know whether that's being you. For me, it is. I don't take twerk videos, and I don't, you know, I don't make sex tapes and all that stuff. I don't do that stuff that people these days are caught up in, and it's not going to get any better, by the way.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know. And then also, my show, before anything gets posted, including my own comments and my pictures, because now I'm doing my own thing, you know, with the pictures and stuff, the comments and the picture have to be approved by about 10 people. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. And I remember when the show first started, when we were doing our 6-week sneak peek. You might not know about this because it wasn't in Charlotte. I was given a trial in the summer of 2008, and I was only on in 4 cities. And the goal was to be successful in those 4 cities, and then maybe I would get a first season. The cities were Detroit, Dallas, LA, and New York. And I passed the test, and here I am. So I'm in my 10th season right now, but to me...
Almost 11.
To me, no, it is 11,
Yeah.
because that 4-week trial was when I was swimming for my life. And I would leave the talk show and go to my radio show, and I was working 2 jobs. I wouldn't get home because my radio show at that time didn't end until 6 o'clock in the evening. If anyone remembers me at WBLS, and thank you. And I pulled a 5-hour shift. I asked my bosses, you know, I said, I want to be on for the 5th hour. You don't have to change my contract. But I want no music, or I want to be free to play what I want, and I want to be free to talk and answer the phones. And they didn't want me to do it. I said, are you kidding me? You know, I'm winning with the first 4 hours, you know, the legend of on the radio, you know, thank you, God. But I said, I'm asking you for a 5th hour. I got a 6-week sneak peek in 4 markets, you know, and I want to, so they finally, okay. In the meantime, my bosses were the ones with their ears glued to the radio in wonderment and delight, which is so funny. Sometimes you can outsmart your bosses, and then they become your biggest fans, and that's a good thing. But what I do with social media, like I'm saying, it has to be vetted through like 10 different people. During the 6-week sneak peek, I was simply home, and it was a Saturday or Sunday, and anyway, I put a plunger because the toilet had clogged, and I went to the garage to get the plunger to plunge, right? And I you know, washed it off, of course, but I put it in the bidet along with a wig and a tube of Pookie Pink lipstick. Shout out to all the MAC girls. You know what Pookie Pink is. It's real bright. I love it. Anyway, I put those 3 things in the bidet, and I said, you know, something like, simple Saturday, you know, how you doing? What are you doing? Well, honey, I sent that picture to Tristan first, and then Tristan sends it to all the way out to Sacramento, where Debmar Mercury, they produce my show. We're partners in the show. I actually have a little ownership in my own show too, just so that you know. It didn't start out that way, but yeah, yes. I'm a host. I'm executive producer. I'm an owner, and so no matter how many times I cough or wipe my teeth, understand that you know, straighten up and get this thing together. I'm not just some dumbbell, you know, sitting in a chair, bouncing. Exactly.
Yeah, it cuts to your bottom line.
Yes, and so they sent the picture out to Sacramento and all around to the executive branch of the show, and the picture was rejected. And how did I find it out? Because I'm looking for people's comments. Like, I'm brand new on TV, only in 4 markets, but real popular from the radio, so, you know, I'm looking, and I see the picture's not up, the picture's not up. I'm looking for the comments. This new social media thing, I'm trying to work it. Damn it, man. So finally, I call Tristan, and I say, why didn't you post the picture? What is going on? You want me to participate in this mess? He said, they thought it was distasteful. Hi, Jason, by the way. I'll get to you in a moment. They thought it was distasteful. Nobody called me and told me or even explained to me why. They just kind of, it's really weird to have a talk. Like, the host is always so protected. People walk on eggshells. And in New Life, I want you to bring it to me straight. You know what I'm saying? Because I'll bring it to you straight.
So you're known for that. You're known for being a truth teller and wanting people to tell you the truth.
Yes.
Especially in business.
Yes.
So here's the thing. When you...
And I do read comments. I read like 10 down, and then I'll give myself the 11th. If the 10th one's a really good one, I'll read the 11th, the 12th. And all of a sudden, there goes the distasteful. And I'm like, oh, crap, turn off the phone. So like
you shut that off at that point.
The reason that I read the comments, is because as a businesswoman, you have to know what your constituency thinks. Not the executives at Debmar Mercury, not Bernie, my manager, not my mother and father, but you. There's only one reason that I'm still on TV, and it's you, Wendy watchers, and I appreciate that. And I care, but don't care, what you say, because when they get mean, I'm just like, really? Let's meet in the street. I mean, not to fist fight, but just to say this in person. Ironically, never in my life has anybody ever given to me what they will put on social media, believe it or not. People are cowards.
Yeah.
So yes, I do read, because I'm, Wendy, I like that outfit, or Wendy, wow, your truth has changed my life, or Wendy, my grandmother just passed away, and it's just me and my mom now. And I don't get along so well with my mom. I'm only 27 and stuff. But the one thing that me and Grandma and Mom have in common is that we all sit and watch and laugh at your show. And that truly is the best part about being the Wendy.
What does your brand stand for in your mind? Because you've gone through a lot of iterations. You've endured a lot, right? You've had program directors put you in slots that were designed to get you off for good.
Suspend me without pay more times than I can tell you. You lower the curtain on my head at Madison Square Garden. People in the front row throwing their waters at me, and the boss standing there and laughing. I've had a lot to deal with.
Enduring all these things, how have those trials and getting through them successfully, taking a big risk like leaving radio to go into TV, where people said you were not going to make it. I mean, people were saying it's never going to happen, and here you are 11 years later.
I know.
How have those trials prepared you? How have those trials prepared you for this one, right? What did you take from all of those things to get you to where you are now that you know are going to get you through to the next level?
That I know where my heart is, and I know that once I have it to give back, I will. And when I see those naysayers who did horrible things to me, the bosses and things like that, I will say hello to them with a firm handshake, but I stiffen my arm. I don't go in for the hug. And I will not take a picture with them to put on their social media. And you understand what I'm saying? Let me tell you something. And I don't tell them why I stiffened or why I'm not hugging. I'll say, oh, you know, I have a cold, but a stiff, like that's where you keep them at bay. And you're not going to put me on your social media now that I'm the Wendy on TV and claim your stake in my success, because you had nothing to do with it. You know, I'm just saying, being hired had everything to do with it, but what I made of it was all me. I used to be in the radio studio all the time and lock the door. Bosses can't come in. And I would skip songs and talk, 12 songs an hour. We got to get 12 songs an hour. Well, you know what? I only played 4 this hour because I'm chit-chatting with the people. And it turns out people like the chit-chat more than the music. They can hear the same 40 songs on the other day parts of the radio station. And I always knew that once I achieved enough for myself, you take care of yourself first before you start all this giving back. You know what I mean? And sharing. Just saying. Just saying. It's not called being selfish. It's called surviving. Who's going to take care of you when you get older? If you have children, who's going to take care of your children and stuff like that? So now that I have a particular degree of success, I do share. Jason, by the way, was on the Inside Scoop. You really are here. He lives in California. If you just wave your hand so they can stare at you while I talk about you.
We want to talk about you, though.
So, but I gave back to him. He came on my show, and that was, he said, the biggest moment in his career, because I presented him on the grand stage, a show that is in 52 countries and still growing, my show. And he called me night before last. He was in California and I was in New York. And he said, Wendy, he said, I just got a podcast in over 50 countries, you said, right there? 55 markets. And he said, part of his credibility as what he does, and he was already doing something or another, and good at it, but you didn't have a microphone. And being on my show was part of his resume and bragging rights to try to impress the people, whoever the podcast people are. And so he called me, he was crying and everything.
And you hooked him up.
And I didn't hook him up. I just was there to have him on my show. And he was delightful. And so you don't have to give back with money.
Right.
And sometimes you don't even have to give back with time. You give back with kindness and a little bit of information. So now Jason's on the next level of his career. And he called to thank me. He was by himself, by the way. He was not out with his friends twerking and jerking. Okay? He was in his house by himself and called me first.
We want to talk
And that was very touching. I love you more, Jason.
So let's talk about the next level of your career. I think one of the interesting things, particularly in the Black community, historically we have a lot of family businesses, and we still have a lot of family businesses. And to some degree, your business has been a family business.
Yes.
And now it is transitioning to being Wendy's business.
Well, my son does not want to be an actor, a ball player, or anything. He wants to be the boss, as he used to say when he was like 6, when I first got the show. Now he's 18, and he still wants to be the boss. And he's a business major. He goes to school in Boca, but he's transferring to, I don't want to put his business out there. Leave him alone, okay?
Well, he's still getting there, but by family business,
but the
I
thing
mean
is,
you and your husband.
the talk show is not a family. Well, my husband became my
was
manager.
managing you and executive producer
Right.
of the show. And now you have Bernie, who you've stepped into that role.
Yes.
So how does one go about, because this is not a situation that other people would not potentially face.
Right.
How does one go about unraveling a personal relationship that is also a business relationship? And then how do you find the person to step into that role?
You mean Bernie?
I mean, Bernie, what did you look for? You know, you didn't just replace your manager, you replaced your partner in life with a partner in business.
Don't make
right?
me cry.
I'm not trying to
Don't
make you
do it.
cry. But you did, but you had to replace your partner in life and business with a partner in business.
Yeah.
And, that's that transition, right? From family to this is Wendy's show. Do you see yourself now that your husband is no longer managing you, even though you have a manager, as more the boss, as not just the talent, as the person who has to make this ship move forward?
Absolutely. And, my husband and I were partners, but, and he's also not the executive producer.
Anymore.
So he's
Right.
not, you just have to clean the slate and start over. And I'm good at what I do in this new role. At least I think so. I'm a mess. Oh my
It's
God.
new.
Oh my God.
It's-
No,
you're
it's not new.
transitioning.
No, it's not new because I didn't meet my husband until my 29th birthday. And those years before, I was already a property owner. I was already a radio star. I was already the boss of my own life. You know what I mean? So it's not new. It's just
It's a return.
I'm returning to that life, but with a bigger platform, if you know what I'm saying. And I love it. I slid into it effortlessly.
Really?
Oh, yes. Yes.
So what were the things that you called upon from that pre-time? What were some of the things that you returned to that maybe you had relinquished over those years when he
Call
was
me
managing?
directly. You know what I'm saying? I have a front office led by, Leah, and then my manager, Bernie. But Jason didn't have to call them to get my telephone number. I gave Jason the number when I say, we'll be right back. Right, Jason? We exchanged numbers, and Jason called me directly at his success. And I said, and don't be childish, just calling me up to say, hey, girl, hey. Right? I did. You got to set it straight. Call me directly, so my telephone number is circulated a bit more with business people, so you can call me. But if you call me and it's about business, then I say, oh, well, you call Bernie for that. But call me. Also, I'm more on time. The old ways, other people were in charge of, getting me to places and things like that. And, I'm a time person. By the way, one of the most important things that you all need is the most important watch you can get. Not yourself. Wear a watch. It says a lot, at least to people like me. You know what I mean? Like, time matters. And maybe that's because all of my life, including college, I don't forget about those years because what I did on radio in college was very important. But if your shift starts at 2 o'clock and you get there at 2:05, well, the program director's looking at you crazy. And
Thank you.
I might not have been the best jock. I might not be the best talk show host, but I'm live from New York at 10 a.m. I can't be there at 10:01 or 10:05 or whatever. Now I'm in charge of my own time. And honey, I will hail a cab before I will wait for a late car. I will walk before I wait for a late person. And now I can make those rules myself as opposed to going back and forth with the household. The boy is away at college, and my husband, the divorce is not finalized, and I will not talk to him horribly, even though.
Talk about him.
Right, I won't, because
of
I'm
your
grown. And not just that, but you don't just make 25 years go away. But back to being on time. There was a problem with time in our whole camp, and it wasn't me. And I was the one always sitting at the door toe tapping like, oh my gosh, I don't want to get to the show at 9 o'clock. I realize that my team can, I get beat. And at the same time as I'm meeting with my producers in the morning, I like to multitask, let's get this done. But I like to get to my show by 7:30, in the morning. So we're live at 10, and now I'm getting there at 7:30. Late for me is I get there at 8 o'clock, and even that's not late. The latest I ever got there, did you ever see that show where I walked in with my sunglasses and the coat and my handbag? True story. The traffic was a mess in New York and Jersey, and I didn't get there until 9:55. Morel wanted to give me, a light strip of lashes and a little beat and everything. Robin wanted to give me, one of her wigs as opposed to walking in with my street hair, which I like it wild and free. No, because I'm like a Mustang in real life. You know that Mustang that can't be. Yes, That's the horse that you can't tame. Nobody wants to ride it, and you don't know the attitude. A Mustang will not wait for you to open the gate. A Mustang will hop over the gate and run as long as she wants. So I like Mustang hair in real life, right? And I
And this
said,
time you just went-
and the producers, I met with them on the phone in the car while I was driving in, and I'm crying and I'm upset, and I'm gonna be late, and oh my gosh, we're live from New York, and being late is the biggest part of doing the job. And oh my gosh, what if I get canceled? Ellen's going to win. The View is going to win. I'm very competitive.
I was going to ask you,
Very.
how important is it to you to win?
Important enough to stand on my star. And when the man says live from New York, the doors opened up, and what'd you say? I had my water in one hand, my handbag in the other, my sunglasses on, no makeup. I had on leggings and a small T-shirt with a sliver of belly showing, and which they won't let me do that on the show. So I like to do that in real life. Why? I don't know. Because I'm Wendy. Because my tummy tuck is still working, and so and until it untucks, I'm living my life. Leave me alone. So how important is it? It's important enough to tell everybody, just stand aside. There's not one person except for my husband who knew that I could get out there and do it. And there wasn't one person but my husband who said to me, you know what, I have really good skin, and thanks to my mother and father, and I prefer myself with no makeup as opposed to makeup, and he's the one person who he swatted me on the booty. We went to the chapel. I have a little prayer area in the back of the stage. Anyway, another story. But we said a quick prayer. He swatted me on the booty. He's like, "Get him, Tiger." I stood on my star, and they were panicking in the control room. They did not know how this was going to come off. The crew was panicking, and everybody was panicking, my team. Everybody was panicking. And I was like,
You were being you.
yep. And I walked out there. It was, if you ask me what my favorite show has been of all time, it was that show, because I did it my way, and my team, they practically had a parade afterwards when the show was over. Like, oh my gosh, this is the best. Oh my gosh, this is what makes your show different or our show. I'm the one with my name on the marquee, but it's a family thing. This is what makes our show different. I dropped my bag next to the Hot Topics chair, and I did the whole show unbeat. The Glam Squad did come out during commercials, though, and fuss over me, and but I never let him put that strip of lashes on. I didn't want his lip gloss. I like Burt's Beeswax, the little tint. I like that, the Burt's Beeswax. She didn't put a new wig on me during commercial break. She worked with my Mustang hair.
And you went with it.
And I went with it.
So we're winding down on time. So I want, if you can, some quick answers to a few questions, okay? I know this is hard, but we're going to pound through a few.
No comment is always an option.
It is always an option.
Go ahead.
Okay. But not really, because it's BE, so we're going to try to comment, okay?
Mm-mm.
Do you recall the first word the word you used to land your first big deal, or basically what clinched that first big deal for you?
True talk?
True talk, always true talk.
They hired me because they were looking for a black on the staff, and a black female, you get a double. You know what I'm saying? And they hired me because of that.
And you knew it?
They told me it.
And did you care?
And no, I didn't.
Hello.
Because I said, one day I'm going to be successful. I mean, I thought it was messed up, right? It was messed up for them to say that, and it was messed up for me to even take the job as opposed to go to the New York Post and tell the story.
Right.
But this is what I said I'd do with that. I said, one day I will be successful enough that I will be able to come back and give that jewel to a room of people, and here I am.
There you go.
Yes.
Okay, good.
And the station, by the way, if you're a New Yorker, before Hot 97 turned to Hot 97, it was called 103.5. And they played dance music. Noel, Silent Morning, Debbie Gibson, Paula Abdul, Forever Your Girl.
We know about Debbie Gibson, but can we pound through some?
No, I'm telling you
Okay.
what it was.
Okay.
They had I'm sorry. I know it's your platform.
I know, it's
Damn
so
it.
hard to interview a talk show host, man. You can't get a word in.
But listen, the staff with the dance music, it was aimed towards the Latinos and Latinas. If you recall that particular music, they didn't play, music for black people, and it wasn't top or our music. And they also didn't play top 40 music, it was totally dance music. They had 2 Puerto Ricans on the staff. It was like about Puerto Rican, white. They literally, you laugh. They stacked the staff according to ethnic makeup because they wanted to have a well-rounded air staff, but they didn't have a black on staff. And that's where Wendy came in. And they had the nerve to tell me this. And so thank God I'm successful enough to tell you that.
Take the opportunity.
Take the opportunity
However it
and then
comes.
share that jewel when you come back around to be here for Black Enterprise, because you will be invited too if you rise to greatness.
Okay. What's the best advice you give to somebody just starting out with their own business in the business world? Best thing you did early. I know you were careful with your money always. I don't know if that's one of them.
I still am. I mean, I am a skinflint. I am very cheap. Very cheap. I live below my means. I'm cheap.
Is that advice you would say, especially for entrepreneurs, when you have to float a lot of your own stuff, like live beneath your means?
Yes.
Because people look at you and probably presume that is not the case.
Nothing here did I buy myself. You see, when you get your talk show, you take advantage of that wardrobe. When you turn 50, they give you a nice gift, 50 diamonds. It says happy birthday on one side, and on the other side, right here, it says the date. The hair was bought with the hair budget.
Who gave you the 50 diamond necklace?
Mort and Ira, my partners,
Oh.
Debmar Mercury.
Oh.
Oh, they are very...
Get them as a partner.
Oh,
That's
they're wonderful.
The advice.
They're wonderful. Okay, this is my hand, but I'm
So
saying...
best advice to someone just starting out in the business world.
Save your money. Dress appropriately. Ladies, that would mean get yourself a wrap dress. A wrap dress will take you from a funeral to the White House and back. Yes. And it will fit you if you gain 10 pounds or lose 10 pounds.
That is true.
I'm telling you,
That is
not a dress with a zipper in the back that if you gain a pound, it doesn't fit anymore. You get yourself a wrap dress. And for the gentlemen, please don't have any of those visible tattoos. Well, I don't want to see that on anybody, but, watch your tattooing and that piercing, because that's not hot. I don't want an assistant with a nose piercing or, her eyebrow pierced or something like that. I'm trying to let my business roll, so I surround myself by the right people. But yes, watch your social media, save your money, and travel light, travel far. The person who told me that is Bugsy. Bugsy was a legend at WBLS. He was a jock. And I think Bugsy's now on Sirius, but Bugsy said travel light, travel far. You know what that means, Chirin? It means go by yourself. You'll go further you're more likely to be able to fool them and get beyond the velvet rope and get into where you're supposed to be, even though you're not supposed to be there, nobody invited you. But if you're by yourself and you have on a wrap dress, listen, believe me you. That is how I got to be here. I have girlfriends and guy friends and that whole bit. You don't really hear me talk a lot about them because they weren't a part of what it took to be here. They're listening to the radio thinking, I'm having fun and, this weekend I'm going to host a party or this and that. No. You're not coming with me. I don't need my girlfriends pushing up on the RZA in the corner. So when it's time for me to go, because it's a 2-hour appearance, I got my money, and now we're leaving, and I will leave you.
And that Travel Light, Travel Far is a gem in Wendy's memoir.
Oh.
Wendy's got the heat. Her last chapter is 10 bits of simple advice, simple rules to live by. So note to all of yourselves.
Yeah.
What is your best advice to people about getting into business with their partners/spouses?
Now?
Oh, there was like a moan.
No.
Yes, now.
I would say don't do it if you don't have to. Mine, it just so happens that when Kevin entered my life, and he was 23, and I was 29.
And,
Hi,
yes.
boys. Anyway, he was 23 and I was 29, and he was available, I'll just say, in terms of, like, when he got into my life, he saw, that I wouldn't go out with friends, but I would go out. I'd have, security with me and things like that. He immediately dismissed that. He's like, I'll hold you down, And I was like, oh, that's hot. Okay, okay. And eventually it just turned into, like, when it came time for contract time and things like that, it wasn't me and my attorney. It was me, my attorney, and my then extremely serious boyfriend. His name was not on the paperwork, but he was a part of that. And now you see what's happened to my life. And, none of that is what it is. So I would say, marry a cardiologist and you go on and be an engineer. Look, marry an eye doctor and you go on and have your talk show. But you make sure that those people support you in terms of cheering you on. But yes, have your separate life. And then when you come home, you actually have even more to talk about as opposed to business. Everything always falls into business, even though I love what I do, and so does Kevin. It's just, what I do specifically is so much, I'm still in love with it. I don't know whether you can see that delight in my eyes every day. The second you don't is the second I will take myself off TV, because I can't fake having a good time, for anything or anyone. Excuse me. Oh.
It's okay.
But yeah.
So your advice would be just don't do it. Keep it separate.
Yes, keep it separate. Keep it separate.
What's the greatest lesson you've taken from where you are now, and where do you want your brand to go?
There is not one great lesson. My role model is my mother, and my mother and father. I just got a text before. They're sailing around the world right now. They like to travel, and they're in Germany.
How long have they been married?
My parents have been married for 61 years. Amazing. Yep. And they're healthy and a nice looking Google schmoogle, Shirley and Tom. You'll see. I look just like my father, but my personality is the spitting image of my mother. And I know how to imitate her voice. Wendy, you always have to have your own money, no matter what. You'll read it in my book. I got that from my mother. Wendy, always have a perfume. And like, my mother is I am the spitting image of her. It's a perfume, the nails, she's glamorous in her own messy way. My mother, she's 84. And my parents still hold hands. I observed from afar. I was like, goals. That's what I want. So the important lessons that the important one is, I learned it from my mother and my father, and that would be always have a personal life that you can be on the porch and have, rocking chair, and also save your money, because who's going to rock you in that rocking chair?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as you look forward, are you relishing this time to be the boss, to really be the boss and own everywhere that your brand goes going forward, knowing that the buck is going to stop with you?
Well, if you read headlines and really buy into them, and they are juicy, when I read about it, I'm like, if I didn't know her, I'd be watching that show. Now I have to follow her. And by the way, we just gained, Bernie, what was that, 63,000 new followers on something like that. Whatever it is, the Googler schmoogler. Look, since all the drama's been going on with the Wendy, I have 63,000 new followers. And I'm like, these nosy people, all right, whatever. I see what's going on. I talk on the radio or on the TV every day, but apparently, burning fish, for my family at home in prior life wasn't interesting enough. But all of a sudden, I'm in peril, and you want to follow me. But the business, I was very much a co-partner with my husband. If you read and buy into what you see, then you would think that I was, pushed to the side and stuff like that. And I let him be the manager and also be the man. You know, I am very much a girl at home. I love a man to be a man, and I mean open the door for me, you know, all that. I am old school.
How about in business? In business, are you also?
In business, I am a Mustang. You know what I'm saying? Sorry, I don't mean to, yeah. No, in business, don't mess with me. And now, because it's just me, I love it. It's what I've always known. It's just that I had a co-partner, and now it's just me, you know, at the top of the chain. And my business is growing. Bernie, you said I can say this.
Say it.
It hasn't been announced.
It's all right. Go.
All right, well, then you all
Announce it here.
You all are the first to know. I have a partnership now with Lifetime TV. Hold on, because she said this is quick. We're about to wrap up. And
now she's going to go here.
No, because I don't want to tell you exactly the
Well, you are going to be executive producing.
everything that I want and anything that I want. It's a partnership, like a partnership. And
you're going to be headlining a comedy show, correct?
yes, okay, and I'm a comedian too.
But sort of deaf comedy jam. I mean, you are going to go on tour, hosting a comedy show, bringing out other comedians.
Yeah.
So you are taking the brand to new places.
Well, no, because I've already been on
Well,
comedy
you did the
tour.
comedy show, but
And
and
I've
you
already-
did Lifetime. But you're going to focus more on those things, and you've truncated some other things. Like you did have the HSN, which is now on hold, right?
I am still going to be manufacturing clothing, and that's
Book
to be
publishing.
coming soon. And I go to every button, every zipper, because I was with QVC and HSN,
Right.
and I've learned a lot. And I am present. I'm not just going to slap my name on something, which I could do. You know what I mean? That's what they expect when they first sign you up. They want you for your name and your exposure, and then they don't realize the headache that I will be. All right? It'll take a 5-hour meeting just to decide what size zippers I want on this dress. And do I want it to, or the skirt, like, do I want it to zip on the side, or do I want it to zip it in the back, or do I want to zip it on this side, or whatever? Now, I'll tell you what, a side zipper eventually starts to pucker, and nobody needs another inch on their hips. Not you know what I'm saying?
I do.
So I like a back zipper.
So
And I like it to be low enough where you can just step into it. I hate pulling stuff over my head. So anyway,
in addition to the back
clothing,
zipper.
the comedy tour. I think it's 10 cities. And
Starting in Oakland, California.
It's starting in Oakland. I forgot the date. Bringing
July,
on 4.
July 28th. You're welcome.
Thank you, July 28th.
You're welcome. So,
my God,
so
I'm so
here's
busy.
here's the last question. Last question, because we've given a lot of fashion advice to the ladies, but the men, I think,
Oh, by
are
the
hanging
way,
out
back
there.
to Judge Wendy, because you mentioned that.
Yeah.
I've been teasing that on the talk show because that too, I am going to be executive producing, as you know, like the judge shows. And you might say, ugh, another judge show. No, I'm not a judge, but I'm judgmental. And
Okay.
and so that's another thing, you know, coming.
So last question. Based especially on where you've been and the fact that you did, you know, partner with your husband for so long in business, and you've seen.
keep getting back to
No,
this.
no. You've seen the way men operate in business. You've been a woman largely
What
in
do
a
you
man's.
want to know, Caroline?
Largely in a man's business. This is what I want to know, and I hope this is what you all want to know. 'Cause
They
I know
do.
You've heard a lot, but right now. So
I'm about to curve you.
what?
Isn't that what you say?
This is the last
Watch.
question. Is there a difference in the business? What one bit of business advice would you give the men in the room, and what business advice would you give the women in the room? Is there a difference in what you would say to each of them in how they can best succeed and move forward, so that all of us can succeed and move forward? You know what I'm saying? Black people, all of us. That is a particular place, right? What do you want to say to men in business of how to be the best businessmen they can be versus women in business to be the best businesswomen they can be?
This age
It might
group
be
here?
the same thing. Yeah, any.
Shout out to all the parents. I'm a parent too. But you better slow down on having these kids when you're 22, 23, 24. You use your 20s to be selfish for yourself, to grow up, grow your business, and then when you're in your 30s, and the world is not perfect, but I've said this so many times through radio and TV. I'll say that. Kids are an obligation, and that obligation will slow you down. You will not be able to move to Idaho in a studio apartment because that's all you can afford, you know what I'm saying, when you have kids. You know, so that's one thing as far as the men, because sometimes you all drop your seed, and then even though you love your kids, it's the baby's mom, it's us who are the primary parent, you know, and you all of a sudden want to, you know, be a rapper and think you're going to go on tour or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, you better do that with no, look, kids get in the way. I mean, I love them, don't tell them, but kids get in the way. That's number one. And the biggest thing that I would tell and girls, you all too. Listen, this whole bit about you're sick in love and you know, you just graduated from Fordham University and you have your college boyfriend and you want to go to graduate school in Seattle, but you don't want to leave your boyfriend, you better put that love on hold. You better grow that career. Love will always be there. You just keep it in your mind, because like my mom told me, Wendy, always, you know, make time for a personal life. And I am a wife and or a serious girlfriend. I'm not one of these girls who, you know, I don't need no man and I don't have to know how to cook and stuff like that. So, but take your 20s and you be by yourself, and you better go to graduate school in Seattle and leave him alone. I didn't say you can't be long distance boyfriend and girlfriend, although that long distance thing, it doesn't work. It's not so practical, but do everything all about you.
Focus on
in your 20s. And here's another thing. For me, the difference in, and I see this in people's eyes, when I walk in the room along with my team, people are impressed with that because they don't expect me to walk in the room, you know, and have my questions and stuff ready. But you got to be at the ground floor of your operation. I don't care how big you get. You better show up, be on time, dressed appropriately, and don't just rely on your team to bring back the information because you're such a big shot and you don't have to be there. No.
Show up and
be so prepared. Now, the difference in my business is that, you know, because it used to be Kev and the team would show up. And then Kev wouldn't bring me in until he knew, okay, the deal's done, now it's time for you to meet the people. Not now. I want to be in on the first conversation of the deal, and I want to be on every meeting until the deal is done. And that's the way I roll. Now, you do what you want, but...
We thank you so much
for
showing up here.
I didn't say half of what I wanted to. Listen.
You didn't say half. I didn't ask half.
July 8th, I'm coming back with new shows. The only reason why we're off is because the World Cup is on Fox or something like that. And you know, the majority of my shows are on Fox, although I am on some ABC, NBC, CBS, and PIX stations and things like that. But that's why they made me have off, because of the World Cup soccer. Now, you know I don't like sports. But I'm like, 5 weeks, what am I going to do? So 2 weeks down, 3 more to go.
And you'll be back July 8th, and we'll be watching. Give it
July
up for
8th.
Wendy Williams. Thank you. Thank you. I was watching the clock.
Now what do I do?
You come with me.
And what do we do?
We're leaving.
Oh, my God. I didn't have one Jolly Rancher. What about the question and answer period?
I asked them. We had cards.
No, I mean with the audience.
I had cards. I asked them.
Okay, well, when's that happening? My boy will be home in a moment.
You're about to do a digital interview. Let's roll.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.